In the fall of 2011, a man named Daniel Reyes set up a camera in his bedroom to film himself while he slept. He wasn't looking for anything in particular. He only wanted to settle an argument with his wife. He kept the tapes for the rest of his life, in a shoebox at the back of a closet, and he never once watched the last one twice. Daniel was 34, a parts clerk at an auto shop in Marion, Ohio. He and his wife, Karen, rented the upstairs of a duplex on a street where nothing much ever happened. For most of that year, Karen had complained that he wandered at night. She would wake, she said, and find his side of the bed cold, and hear someone moving around downstairs in the dark. Daniel never remembered any of it. As far as he knew, he slept straight through until his alarm. So one Thursday he bought a small camera, the kind meant for a front porch, and clipped it to the dresser facing the bed. He set it to record from midnight until 6. The first night showed nothing. 6 hours of grain. The bed, the two of them under the blanket, the street light bleeding through the blinds. He watched it on his lunch break, fast-forwarding, half embarrassed. He told Karen she'd been dreaming it. She didn't argue, but she asked him to leave the camera up, just for a while longer. On the 6th night he moved. At 14 minutes past 3, the shape that was Daniel sat up, not groggily, not the way a person surfaces from sleep, smoothly, all at once, like a man who had been awake the whole time and only waiting. He swung his legs off the bed and sat there facing the door, his back to the camera, and did not move for 11 minutes. Then he lay back down. Watching it the next evening at the kitchen table, Daniel felt cold. He had no memory of it at all. But there he was. After that it happened almost every night, always at the same minute. He would sit up, wait, and stand. Some nights he crossed to the bedroom door and stopped there, one hand on the frame, looking out into the dark hall. He never turned on a light. He never made a sound that woke Karen. And every morning he was back in bed, flat on his back, exactly the way he'd started. He began pinching himself awake near 3, trying to catch it. It never mattered. Whatever got up did it without him. He stopped telling Karen what was on the tapes. He told himself there was an ordinary name for it, a sleep disorder, something a doctor could write on a chart. He made an appointment. Then he cancelled it. The truth was that he had started watching the footage the way you press on a bruise, just to feel it. And each night the figure went a little farther, to the top of the stairs, down 2 steps. By the 3rd week it was leaving the frame entirely, gone somewhere into the house for half an hour, then climbing back into bed as the clock crept toward 4. So Daniel decided to stay awake and watch it happen live. He propped his phone on the nightstand, streaming the camera to the little screen, and lay flat on his back in the dark with his eyes open. He would catch himself in the act. He would feel his own legs swing off the bed and prove, once and for all, that it was only his body doing an ordinary, explainable thing. At 3:14 the numbers on the screen turned over, and in grainy green the shape of Daniel Reyes sat up in bed. He felt himself lying still, the weight of the blanket on his chest, his hands flat at his sides. He had not moved a muscle. But on the screen a figure rose from the bed anyway, and not from his side. From hers. It sat up smooth and certain, turned its back to the camera, and stood. Daniel lay frozen, listening with everything he had. The mattress beside him never shifted. The springs never creaked. And a small cold thought arrived that he could not push back down. All those nights he had believed he was watching himself get up. He had been watching the wrong side of the bed. Without thinking, the way you reach for something solid in the dark, Daniel put out his hand for his wife. For Karen, who slept turned to the wall, who had asked him to keep the camera running. His hand found cold sheet, flat, tucked, undisturbed. He pressed his palm against it and understood, slowly, in a way that made the room feel very large, that it had been cold like that for a long time. That he could not actually remember the last morning she had been there when he woke. That the shape he had filmed every night, turned to the wall on the far side of the bed, had never once been her. On the little screen the figure crossed to the door and was gone. Down into the house, into the rooms below, the ones Karen used to say she heard him moving through at night. He had never wandered. He had only ever lain here still, while the thing that shared his bed got up and walked through a house he had believed, for a long time now, he lived in alone. Daniel sat up in the dark. Downstairs a single floorboard took a slow and familiar weight. He never learned what had been lying beside him in the night. He only knew that it was awake now, that it was climbing the stairs, and that it was coming for the bedroom.